name is Patty Fricke. I am one of 5 children of Dorothy and Jane Gallagher. I grew up here in Faribault, and we had I have 4 siblings. My older sister Michelle, myself, and then it was Teresa, who's here with me, and then our brother Bill and our sister Laura. Dedicated person I know, and she raised us to be the same way. Our father died quite young, so our mother was a single mother that had 5 children to raise after our father died. Our father was actually a fireman for Faribault, and I remember going down to the fire station when he was on duty, and we would play cribbage down there. So that's where I learned to play cribbage. My brother and I then carried on that tradition, playing cribbage. And so that's one of my fondest memories of my dad and of my brother. As far as memories of the family, we took family trips, and I remember going to Canada, and I remember I'm older than my younger siblings, and so I remember taking care of them, which was a real treat.
Of course it was.
But we had some really good times. So those family trips are always embedded in
What's bringing us together here today is our brother Bill did get a cancer diagnosis. He had stage 4 lung cancer. It was not anything that was operable. And so when talking with all of the medical professionals and stuff, we were going to start a palliative care for him. He wasn't going to get better. So, there's different choices, radiation, oncology, chemo and all that. And with much discussion, our mother and father are passed, but now there was the 4 of us, because our oldest sister, Michelle, passed away 2 years ago. And so now it was down to the 4 of us 3 girls, and Bill was our only brother. And so the 4 of us were working together with him to help him try and process everything and what would be the best and what were his wishes, and us finding out what his wishes were so that we could make sure that we were able to help him in this journey that we were all facing. So he had decided, he did do a few radiations, but then in talking with up at the Cancer Center and Dr. Shaw and Amy Sully and everyone, Bill had elected to not do chemo and just to sign up for hospice. And I, for one, and I'm sure Patty agrees,
yes,
have to give out a wonderful shout out to not only the Cancer Center here in Faribault, but for them also signing up or making us aware of Minnesota Hospice, which is based out of Lakeville. But they do service the Faribault area. And they are a team of individuals that I don't know how we could have done it without them.
No, they were wonderful.
Yeah. They were there for us at every question, after hours, during hours, visiting. And it was actually Heidi from Minnesota Hospice, because we were explaining to them that she was a social worker then, but Bill wanted to go to Duluth again before he passed. It's something that he always loved up there. He loved to watch the ships, and he traveled a lot. And that's one of the things he did. One of the things he did was he worked for the carnival. He worked for Thomas Carnivals, Merriman, Gold Star. He worked for all of them. So he traveled around. He wasn't in town much in his adult life. He was married. He was divorced. He had 3 wonderful sons. And so he did travel a lot, and that's why we ended up going to Duluth. And Patty and I were talking. He said he wants to go to Duluth. I don't want to take him by myself. I don't want to take him by... I said, let's do a sisters, let's do a sibling and take him all together. And we expressed that to Heidi from the Minnesota Hospice, and she says, there is a Faribault Foundation, Hospice Foundation, and they do grants. Let me do an application and see if some of your trip could be paid for. And she did that application.
Yeah, so we look back on that because we weren't aware of it, if we'd had a little more information, we might have asked Bill if he'd rather go to Ireland.
Yes, yes,
of
we did.
Duluth.
Yes, that was, hindsight's always 2020. Because we were Gallaghers.
Yes, we have lots of cousins over there.
But we didn't. We went to Duluth.
Yes.
Our application was
approved.
approved, and it helped us with our lodging for all 4 of us. And we got Bill a room. He wanted to go to Grandma's to eat, and he wanted to go to the pizza place.
And two of his sons were able to go
Join
with
us.
us. They also got a room that looked over the harbor, and so did Bill's.
Didn't. Yes, we thought this is Bill's trip, so we booked his room on the side, right by the drawbridge, so they could see the ships coming in and out. And we 3 shared a room, and it was supposed to be a neighborhood view, which was the parking lot.
But we always just ran over to Bill's room to
Yeah,
watch
so we were
everything.
right across from him, and every time the ship would sound its horn, we'd go running into his room because he gave us a key, and he'd be laying in bed going, I knew you were coming. But he could lay right in his bed and watch them come in and out, or he had a little patio he could go out on.
Yeah,
And it was a lovely room, beautiful room, and he enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, and we know that this was, everyone that is diagnosed with whatever they have that's terminal, we knew that Bill had actually exceeded the time frame that we started to wonder if they'd misdiagnosed him.
Yeah, because they said 1 to 3 months.
Right, and we're going on 5 to 6 when we went to Duluth. So we all know the stories about how people hang on because there's something that they want to do before they're not here. And that was Bill and his trip to Duluth. So we were we know he was in pain, but he was so good on that trip. We went to, not only saw the ships, but like Teresa said, we went to Grandma's. He wanted to go to Grandma's to eat. And then
the pizza place.
He wanted to go to the pizza place. And after Grandma's, Teresa had arranged for us to take a horse and buggy ride around the square, which was so fun. And then we made a mansion, and that is a lot of walking, and that was difficult for him at this stage of his disease, but he did it all.
And then we went on the boat too.
Yes, and then we went on a cruise because we couldn't. What could we do?
The train ride.
The train ride wasn't running. It wasn't running, so we made it a boat trip instead, and that was wonderful. I mean, every event that we did in Duluth, it was not only pleasurable for our brother, but I hadn't been to Duluth for years.
Yeah.
And that whole trip was such a pleasant memory of our last time with our brother.
And we were going to try to go ourselves and just pay for it out of pocket for him. But I have to say thank you
Yes.
to the
Hospice.
Hospice Foundation for what a gift you gave us.
Right.
And what a memory and a gift
And
we
we
have
were-
for the rest of our lives.
And we weren't even aware of that, so
No.
I don't know
Heidi.
how. Yeah, Heidi. So I hope this video helps the fundraising of that program because it was such a blessing that we were able to share that with our brother.
It's a gift that
Keeps on giving.
no money is. It's priceless. It's something we, until our last breath, will have and cherish.
Yeah.
And it gave us all, even us 3 sisters, knowing we're the ones left behind to share that.
And we know that he was hanging on for that special occasion because once our trip was done, our brother went
About 10 days.
about 10 days into the disease, then took hold. And those last days with him, with his lung cancer disease was very, very difficult. We ended up taking care of him. Fortunately, we were able to let him stay in our mother's home.
He was living there.
He was living there. And Teresa, Laura, and I took care of him for those last days, 24/7.
Yes.
We took shifts.
Started out, I would just get a call occasionally. Teresa, what you doing? Are you okay? Well, I said, I'll be right up. Well, then as he progressed, and it was like, I need help. And then towards the end, all three of us were there. We would just, two of us would take care of him, and with the help of Minnesota Hospice, again, one of us would sleep, the other two would be there taking care of him. And
I decided to take the night shift one time, so it was from like 10 until 6 in the morning, and I remember I was saying the rosary. Our mother was, we're Catholic, and I was saying the rosary, and I was so tired I'd start with the Our Father and I'd end up with the Hail Mary. But we decided that no one really cared at that point.
Mother loved the effort.
Yes, exactly. So one other thing that I think is very important about the services that were provided to us from hospice is not only did they set up the trip to Duluth, but while we were there, they made sure that we had resources available to us for our brother in case he needed it. Because if we would have needed a wheelchair, or if we would have needed to talk to someone at hospice, they gave us all the information that we needed when we were out of our service area here, which was a great comfort, because you never know if something is going to happen, and to know that if it did, we had the resources available to us there in Duluth.
Yes, and another thing, they became so, our team from Minnesota Hospice, and I know it's not just Minnesota Hospice, I'm sure that's who we worked with, and we just can't say enough about them. When our brother passed, and they were there every day towards the end. They came multiple times sometimes if we needed them. Bill got very agitated. He got a thing called terminal agitation, and it was difficult. It was very difficult. And they gave us the knowledge that this is what's happening, what we can do. And they were so involved and became such a part of our family during this journey with us that when Bill passed, I truly felt a loss for our hospice family. I not only mourned, I not only mourned Bill's, but those Chad and Danielle and Heidi and all the others that we talked to on the phone when we had to call after hours or whatever. And I felt a real loss to not only Bill, but to them and their support and their love and care that they gave all of us.
And I'm sure that those people in their job, they are so compassionate. So I know they move from one situation to another, but they make it unique to your situation. That is a gift, because each situation that they face has got to be different, and they made it just
like we were the only family that needed them at the time. Yeah,
right.
it's like they set that thing all up for us because they were just made it so about us, and the burdens that they carried from family to family are just, they get to go right to heaven.
They get to sit right next to God.
And I'm going to share a little story. This was kind of funny because our brother was kind of agitated. Yeah. And so hospice came and he didn't want a catheter. Well, then we had a let loose, and we were changing the bed all the time. So it's like, now we're going to do a catheter. And when Danielle did it, there was hardly any urine in the bag at the time. So our brother's son came to see him, and he wanted to get up. He just wanted to get up. And it's like, Bill, lay down, lay down. And our younger sister, Laura, says, Bill, if you don't lay down, we're going to make your son leave. And, I mean, she was very forceful because he was being very combative to want to sit up. And so he just, eyes wide open, oh, but the bag just filled with pee. And I said, Laura, I think you scared the pee out of it. And we told hospice, and they were just, it was, so they were there, but they they had fun with us too.
They did.
Helped ease that.
Yeah, you have to put
You have to have some
humor.
laughter.
You have to have some kind of humor when you're at those final stages of whatever disease the person is suffering from.
Yes, and sometimes there's tough love in that, and there's the praying, there's the holding their hand,
Yeah.
there's the hugging, there's the letting them know you're there for them, and then sometimes you have to be the mother, and if they're struggling in there, to try and get them, and then again, hospice giving us the information that when he gets like this, give him this med or that med, and these two play together really well, and give him support on the agitation and the pain or whatever the
So-
combination.
Speaking of the meds,
Oh, boy.
this was actually kind of funny too. So Bill never liked taking pills, and at the end we had to put what was the medicine we put in his gum line?
The morphine.
Morphine to help his pain. Well,
You should go back one little second. Bill worked when he was living here in Faribault after he left the carnival. He was working as a direct care professional with
Yes.
Lutheran Social Services. So he had to disperse meds. So he had a very particular way to do that. So go ahead.
So because he didn't want to take these meds, we would take our fingers and put the meds in along his jawline, and they weren't totally dissolved. He would take his tongue and he would spit them back out at us. So we then had to go to a different solution to administering his drugs by making
A little paste.
Yes, and the hospice told us they said make a little paste, and then he won't be able to spit those meds back out at you.
And then that morning when he died that afternoon, I went to do it because it was my shift, and he pursed his lips together. And he was
It's like-
I was like, "Well, you stinker."
Yeah. I mean, when he spit those meds back
Yeah.
out, I went, "Are you kidding me?" So, anyway,
So people out there who are
Yeah, struggling.
caring for their loved ones, again, the hospice team was there, and go ahead and laugh at those things because it's a situation you don't want to be in, but you have to find some laughter, and you have to find the good things in this
yeah.
sad journey.
And hospice did tell us too they found when Bill was agitated, we put on the TV, we put those
Subliminal, like
Serenity music,
spa
type things.
music.
Yes, and after listening to those for 7 days, I'm not going to watch those for a while. But they helped our brother. They all started to sound the same after a while.
They did, but they did calm him.
Yeah, they did.
They did calm him, and it was a good suggestion. Yeah, I really want to emphasize for anyone watching this, going through this journey with a loved one or whatever your situation is, find your hospice, whatever one you want. We use Minnesota Hospice. Can't say enough about them, and the Faribault Hospice Foundation. What a gift they have for us. So I hope more people find out about you, Minnesota Hospice and the foundation. I hope that people who, whether they've been in this journey or not, maybe someday you will be, and to please donate and give this gift to anyone going through this, because it is priceless. It's something that we will carry for the rest of our lives till our last breath, and we just can't thank you enough for what you've given us.
Everything she said. Thank you.